What's up, everybody? Trey Biddy with hogsports.com coming to you from Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, Tennessee. An incredible environment for a college football game. Unfortunately, a very familiar ending for the Razorbacks. The Walk and Talk is brought to you by Sutherlands. You can reach out to them at 1-800-66-BARNS. If you're looking for a barn dominium, hunting lodge, a barn, a garage, get a free quote there, or at Sutherlands.com. 6 locations in Arkansas. You've got a lot of choices for your home and garden needs, but understand that Sutherland's roots run deep in Arkansas. A lot of them went to the University of Arkansas, certainly watched this game. So check out our friends at Sutherland's and a lot of locations nationwide. I know a lot of people watch this outside the state of Arkansas as well. So Bobby Petrino's debut as head coach, they fall 34-31. They battled for him. And we'll talk about all the issues that came up: penalties, turnovers, special teams, injuries, making your opponent pay for the mistakes, decision making in key moments. Those are always the things that decide football games. And but number one, I want to say, it was good to see them actually fight for him and not let go of the rope, because they had let go of the rope. They regained the rope, I guess. And we'll see if they take that at home against Texas A&M, because I've said this before, I say it all the time. It's good to be in a football game. It's good to be able to sit on the edge of your seat and your heart pounding. I was down here in 5 minutes or so to play down here on the sidelines. There's a good number of Arkansas fans right over here. Actually, a decent number. I mean, it's hard to travel all the way to Knoxville, but there was a decent number that came. And man, my legs were shaking. Not because I was nervous or anything, but just the vibration from the ground. I could feel it from the ground vibrating my legs. It was so loud in this place. This is an incredible environment. This is SEC right here. And yeah, it was pretty intense. Now, as far as the game, key moment, deciding to go for it on 4th and 3. And I can talk about this because I'm very consistent about a few things, and that is taking your points and not returning kickoffs unless it's like a line drive, or unless we're talking about like a 4th and a foot or something, 4th and a short yard. Then maybe I say, okay, go for it. But 4th and 3, I'm pretty consistent on taking your points, kicking the field goal. And if you do that and you make the field goal, then you got a tie ball game. If you miss the field goal and they go down and score 10 points in an environment like this, that it might feel insurmountable. However, they were down 17 and battled back. And the defense stopped them. The defense got to stop. The defense got their back a couple of times. I mean, a few times, really. And I know they gave up 485 yards. That's not lost on me. It's also not lost on me that Tennessee puts up like 500-something yards a game, and this is the first game all season that they hadn't put at least 40 points on the scoreboard. So keep that in mind. The defense did try to show up and fight for Bobby Petrino, who I thought was pretty emotional in the post-game press conference also. I think he really wanted it for the players. I think the players wanted it for him, which one of the biggest surprises of that Notre Dame game was how they did not fight for Sam Pittman. No, I mean, and they almost seemed surprised on Tuesday at the press conference that Sam Pittman was fired and the defensive coaches were fired, like they didn't expect it when everybody else did. But I always bring this up about like Houston Nutt, going down to Baton Rouge when the players knew it was pretty much over for him, and they went and battled for him. Brett Bielema against Ole Miss that year when they went down so much at halftime, they came back and fought and won that game. Coastal Carolina, they could have laid down. They lost that Missouri game where he was fired on the field, but that was a battle. That was a war. They fought for him, and I was just kind of surprised. I guess they just kind of laid down and let that happen, and Sam was fired. So they didn't get that field goal. Defense got to stop, and then I think it was the Braylon Russell fumble, and they went down and scored, and then it's a 10-point game. The next thing you know, it's 17 points. Arkansas still struggles in the third quarter. That hasn't changed on offense. And Petrino said as much, they're stopping that outside zone. And Petrino said he didn't go to the pass soon enough, and that was a regret. I think he also regrets not kicking it. And that was a big turning point moment. Decisions in key moments. Making your opponent pay for mistakes also. And while the offense lost points that they would have scored at least field goals probably on those drives where they fumbled because they were in territory. But the defense stood up and didn't make it like 14-point swing, They got their back a couple times, and I think that's all connected. I think, there's a little bit of play back and forth versus what Petrino kind of indicated was maybe a little bit of division with the offense and defense. You got to understand that you're all working together here for one common goal. You're a team. But the third quarter, second half lulls on offense are obviously a concern. That's been a problem all year long. I didn't feel like Neyland hit that lull. You know, it seemed like every game he hits a little stretch of like 5 to 7 plays where he just like, you know, what are you doing, Neyland? You know, and other times he looks like Superman. That long run he had, by the way, where he outruns dude. I think, yeah, Arkansas scored on that drive, but man, that brought you back to Matt Jones. Neyland didn't have like nothing to take away from Neyland or anything. It was a great run, but Matt has a little bit extra. Like the acceleration is the same, you know, it's very similar, but like at the end of the run, you know. But people just take terrible angles on him. He gives you a shot. I mean, he gives you a shot in just about every game. I love the way that they battled back at the end, just didn't have enough. And, you know, this is a product of just not having a very good defense and not having a very good defensive line. I mean, you got true freshmen in on that last drive at defensive tackle. Like, you know they're running the ball and they're going to run up the middle. And, you know, not that Kevin Otis isn't going to be a good player. I think he will, but he's a true freshman defensive lineman, you know. And that's a lot of, you know, we talk about the turnovers. Obviously, you can't have 3 turnovers. Penalties, by the way, hell of a job. Like, you want to talk about being in an environment like this and the focus that you have to only have, they had 2 penalties called against them. 1 was excessive. 1 penalty for 10 yards. That's pretty solid, especially, you know, Tennessee had 10 penalties against them. But, you know, when the game was on the line at the end and they get 2 scores, and suddenly it's a 3-point game and it's not over, and I'm down here, I'm going back and forth, I'm just walking with the team back and forth, going up and down the field. Man, if they could have gotten a stop there, and I don't know what, like, it was so loud, and I'm just like, you know, I don't know how all the timeouts were working at the end. I've heard some people say that they, you know, you should have called 2 timeouts before that 2-minute warning. I'm not even sure exactly how that went down. Hell, I was in the elevator when Rohan Jones scored that touchdown, which I don't know where he was the whole game until he scored that. But I was in the elevator trying to get down here to field level. So it's going to be interesting to see if they take this on the road. I almost feel like sometimes with Sam Pittman, like what if they played at home like they did on the road versus the way they played at home where people are just emptying the stadium out at halftime. Because it matters, like, you know, nobody wants to lose, but like to actually, like, at home be in a war, I don't know. I feel like that maybe it's different than being on the road. Like, you just get your doors blown off on the road. Maybe it feels a little bit different, and come home and play good games. And I don't know. But yeah, it is wild. 2022. That's over 3 years ago since Arkansas lost by double digits on the road. That's just astonishing to me. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. There's a cat. I can hear the cat in the stands. I don't know what else to say, but it kind of feels like we're in limbo a little bit, you know, I think with, you know, Sam Pittman's out. Like, it's hard to just like get pissed off about the situation. Oh, it's a little girl making cat noises. It's hard to get, like, you know, pissed off about the situation just because that era is over and we've moved on to this new era. And it would have been huge for Bobby Petrino to win this game, for his resume and his attempt to get this head coaching job. I think the players battle for him. I think that'll mean something. But now you got to take it back home and do it in front of the home fans. You got 3 opportunities at home coming up. Man, if you can make something out of those 3 games, then maybe you got a chance. Now, I'm not saying that Petrino is the front runner for the head coaching job or anything, but he is a runner. He's in the race. So I got you, bud. Yep, 10 minutes. I'm live here. Thank you. I was like nodding my head. I was like, I see, 10 minutes. Anyway, that's pretty much it, everybody. Got a trip back to Fayetteville tomorrow and start getting on this Texas A&M stuff. Texas A&M got a good team. You can come home, stay connected, keep battling. I mean, you're going to have to overcome your issues on defense, like with offense. You got to be better in the third quarter. There's no question about that. You got to adjust better coming out of halftime. But keep fighting, keep playing together, and we'll see where this thing goes. It does feel like all that other stuff, like talking about Arkansas State, how much important that game had to be. You know, like, do this team understand how important Arkansas State is, like blowing their doors off? Or are they just going to go out and play a lackluster game? Like, that kind of conversation feels like it was 10 months ago, just a few weeks ago. The Ole Miss game feels like an eternity ago, because so much has changed in just a short amount of time. The whole narrative, the whole storylines, the tile of articles that we're writing, all that stuff has changed. Check out our buddies at Saracen. Saracen. Yeah, check out our friends at Bet Saracen too. Check out our friends at Sutherlands as well. 1-800-66-BARNS, Sutherlands.com. If you're looking for a barn dominium, barn, hunting lodge, garage, any of that kind of stuff. All right, everybody. I know that there's stuff that I didn't cover. You have to understand that this is just a reaction piece. It's a response. It's off the cuff. It's not rehearsed. So I'm sure I left stuff out. Neyland Green did some remarkable things. Looked like Matt Jones a little bit. Offensive line struggled some areas, pass blocking. I mean, I'm just trying to think of like all the things that I probably left out. Mike Washington ran the ball really hard. I thought Neyland Green probably had a forward pass going, but I have to go back and look at it. But I just saw a quick clip of it and watching from the press box here on that turnover, which was, you know, a big moment in the game. But ultimately, like, the decision to kick a field goal is monumental. You know, they lose by 3 points, and that's something that really plagued Sam Pittman. It hasn't always plagued Bobby Petrino. Bobby Petrino is now 12-9 in games at Arkansas, decided by a score. So, all right, everybody, that's it. That's the walk and talk. Appreciate y'all joining me. This has been Trey Biddy with hogsports.com. We'll catch you next time.